Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, my host companion, Sejohn Sarwick.
Hey everybody, what's going on?
I gotta tell you, I am full of righteous indignation.
Yeah, I know I was you told me before we started that you needed to get into something and I was giving you the floor. Go right for it.
I went to Dunkin' Donuts to get a bagel with the cream cheese on it,
Uh-huh.
and the only reason I did this is because last night you and your brother and Dale, Zach, your brother is Zach, were hanging out playing Destiny, and I brought up those like Dunkin' Donuts bagels that have just too much cream cheese.
Oh yeah. And I taught me I love them. I don't know. Zach was
Both
complaining. I don't know what his
no.
issue
He
is.
wasn't. He was complaining because he missed them. You both were like
Uh,
missing them. So this morning, as I was like kind of tired, I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stick it to the Sejohn. I'm gonna get me a bagel with some cream cheese.
uh-huh.
And
And
I just wanted everybody to know that sometimes actions have consequences, and karma's a bitch. So
hmm
I wanted you to
Did they
know
give you
that.
one of those little did they give you one of those shitty little cream cheese packets on the side? Is that what
They
happened?
gave me two because I got
hmm
right now. They got you got two bagels for $4, toasted with cream cheese applied. And I called the manager. Now we called the manager because my mother's chai was hot milk. They
Oh.
didn't put any of the chai in it, and
Well,
it
Bill's
tasted of
gonna get
perfume.
sleepy
It
on the
was
ride
like
home.
perfumed. But no, because I just went and did it alone because we're still in like the final throes of a snowstorm that wasn't really a snowstorm.
The bummer. It was supposed to be pretty bad, right? And I think Wisconsin got a kind of good brunt
Oh,
of
I
it.
mean
We've got
it's pretty much. I think like we're the tail end that didn't get anything because like all the Sunday morning shows were like from the the Midwest, the Mid
Mhm.
East, from the Midwest to Maine,
I still
snow.
I still get storm warnings from Ohio sent into my phone. I haven't turned those off yet since the move, and all weekend it's just been going off like Toledo going into a level 1, a level 2, don't drive, stay safe, all that crap. So it was really scary like keeping up with that stuff and knowing that you guys were gonna get it. I'm glad it kind of died
Yeah,
down a bit
I'm
because
happy it died down too. Like everybody was talking like, oh, snow, so snow, and I'm like, let's not say the word.
yeah.
Let's just deal with the aftermath. So we avoided it. So I'm like, oh, okay. And I didn't make coffee this. I was up way earlier than I wanted to be. I was up till 2 Thursday and Friday night, and I'm like, oh, I get to catch up on sleep, and then I'm an idiot, and I was up till 2 last night too. So not that I'm complaining. Like I was doing fun things most of those times. It's just that like, why did I wake up at 7 o'clock today, Sejan? We weren't recording until 11
No, I know. I don't know why you did, man. I don't know.
because you can't. There's no snooze button on a biological clock, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm like, I'll do it, and this will be fun, and it didn't happen. But I'm the only one who went out. No one else in the family is like, we're gonna go out in the like. Right now, it actually feels like we're in a flood. That's the best way to describe it
Oh
because it's
man.
all slushy.
Oh,
And
gross.
like we're gonna have to clear our walkway later, right? Because it's now stopped. The precipitation part is stopped. But like walking out there to go get coffee this morning, it just felt like I stepped into a huge puddle. And I'm like, how do I shovel water?
Yeah, you gotta get out there with a fucking mop, man.
Yes,
Like,
yes, that's what's probably gonna have to happen. So I went out and did it alone, and then I came home, and my mother took one sip of her drink, and like I don't know, like TV shows or movies, it wasn't a spit take; it was a reverse spit take, where she's
oh,
like, "I have this stuff in my mouth, and
oh,
I don't know what to do with it now." So like she
that's so
just
gross.
so she called to be like, so I just got hot milk in my vanilla chai, and it tastes like perfume. So if you just want to clean the machine. And then
Yeah.
my favorite part is she has a manager on the phone to complain. Like she has an actual complaint. My complaint of like I didn't get cream cheese on my bagel and I'm a little mad. They still gave me cream cheese,
Yeah, yeah.
but like I'm paying because I don't want to do it myself.
Yeah, no, I get that, man. It's that Sunday morning. Look, it is Zach, like you said, Zach and I were talking about how we miss Dunkin' Donuts, right? And it's that thing that happens every now and then at Dunkin' Donuts, and I find it usually happens during the quote unquote busy times for them when they just don't want to take the time to apply these 7 layers of cream cheese that they normally
Yeah,
do. And it's their own fault because I don't know why they put so much fucking cream cheese on their bagels, but God, I love it. But like you get the flood of cream cheese every time you order a bagel there, and then it gets like one or two people in a line, and they're like, oh. I don't have 20 minutes to shellac this bagel with cream cheese. Here, just throw a couple of things in with it. And yeah,
Right.
man, it's a sad day.
But so my mother, like, I'm calling the shop, but because I have an actual complaint. So
Right,
then she
right.
has the manager on the phone with her, and she's like, and also, while I have you, this is not the complaint. Like, this is not the complaint. I just need to know, do you people apply the cream cheese to the bagels? And the woman on the phone, right? And it was so good because I'm watching my mother. She's like, "Of course we do. Why, was there a problem?" And it's just like my mom, like her face was just like disappointed. It's like it was
Like it's
like
the best face that a mom can make.
Ed Rooney's face when Ferris Bueller calls him and he is convinced that he is already on the line with him doing a voice. That like, oh, I got caught. And she's like, no, we only don't put cream cheese on if you specify that you would like it on the side. So she's like, oh, well, my son was upset about that, and I thought he was wrong. So we don't need compensation for that. Just, I'd like a chai at some point. So that was fun. That was how our morning started. And yeah, so I'm in a very good mood compared to, I was kind of sleepy before I got some coffee and bagel in me. So
Nice.
let me tell you though, because the cream cheese was on the side, normal amount of cream cheese and like perfect coverage. So
Oh
like,
man.
I might just get it on the side from now on.
It's not a Dunkin' Donuts experience, man. You got to get it. You got to get it with the mound of cream
The
cheese. When you
worst
get
part,
more cream cheese than bagel, you know you've gone to a good Dunkin'
and the
Donuts.
best part about it is when you get to the hole, and
Uh,
it's like just a solid
it's
clump of
just a
cream
clump of cream
cheese,
cheese,
and
and you
you're
just got to
like,
eat it, man.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Do I put you inside of me? Do I try to eat around you? Like, that is the worst part of that experience. It's also the best part because you put it all inside of you and you're like, they're doing something right. They know
It's
how to bagel.
it is a legitimate excuse to eat just a handful of cream cheese. You're just like, I had to because like how else was I going to finish my? I can't just eat around the middle of a bagel. That's just not how it works.
Even
But
though
you do
that's sort
basically
of
get a
what
munchkin of
bagels
cream
are.
cheese.
I can't eat around the middle of a bagel. Most bagels don't have middles, Tom.
Oh man. All right
So
then.
that was
Well,
the morning. But more importantly, there's something that I want to talk about this week. And
hmm
Sejohn has prepared for what we told you we were going to talk about, and that is the new TV.
hmm
And we're going to get to that.
I even
Or
watched a bunch of stuff this week.
we're going to talk about it right now. So Sejohn, you get to choose our adventure.
Oh
Do
no,
you
no.
want to focus on TV or do you want to get my 10-minute rant out of the
You
way?
get your 10 minutes, and I actually set something up special just for this because I want to give you your 10 minutes. Hey, Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes.
10
Okay.
minutes, starting now.
There you go.
All right, so Devon Decker, big fan of the movie The Intouchables. If you listen to the Say Report, you probably know that. The Intouchables is a 2011 movie about a quadriplegic. In the past, I've said paraplegic, so I apologize. Who was looking for a life, not giver. I'm trying to think of it. Life
A caretaker.
auxiliary. Life auxiliary is the term that they use, though, because it's
Okay.
not just caretaker. Because in a lot of ways, you're doing things for them that they can't do. You are
Right.
life auxiliary is the proper term for it. And he ends up hiring this guy Driss to work for him, even though he's really only there to get a signature on a piece of paper saying that he is trying to get work so he can continue to get his unemployment benefits.
Right.
And the French version is beautiful. The Intouchables is beautiful. And a couple of years ago, I heard that the rights to this movie had been purchased and that they were going to do a remake for the American audience. The remake is called The Upside, and it features Kevin Hart, Bryan Cranston, and Nicole Kidman. The Nicole Kidman thing is important because The Intouchables is really a two-hander. It's Omar
hmm
Sy, and I should have looked up his name. Even if I did, I can't pronounce it. It's like Claudette, Claude something. If you want to look it up, right? Because I'm going to be ranting. If you want to get the name of the
Yeah.
guy who plays
No, go
Philippe
for it.
in The Intouchables, that'd be helpful. It's really about them. The story is them, and yes, there are other people involved, but really, it's their story, and that's an important thing about my problem with The Upside. And the biggest issue between Intouchables and The Upside is, and it's how I've learned this, And I didn't realize it until I watched these two movies, which are supposed to be like heartwarming dramas, like sort of next to each other. And that is, American cinema lacks something. And that thing that America cinema lacks is subtlety. And I know that might sound fucking stupid to say, right?
Yeah.
How is that like an eye-opening experience for me? But like, really, we are not subtle at all. American filmmakers assume that their audiences are morons.
Yeah, well, and one of the things that you could argue is that a lot of our award seasons are based on the idea that we are awarding movies who can actually practice good subtlety. Like, if you look at good filmmaking, I think from the beginning of the Oscars on, I think that you could point out that one of the big things that every single Oscar winner has ever had has been a subtleness to it that like other movies that year did not. And it's when those movies don't have a subtlety, like say, I don't know, Norbit, or even an 8 Mile. Let's pick one that actually won some stuff, right? Like 8 Mile. I think that when people talk about them being quote unquote controversial wins, it's because they are not quite subtle movies. It's what's making Black Panther such a hard thing for people to grasp, because a comic book superhero movie, inherently not subtle, but actually told a very like fascinating story that did have subtlety to it. And I think it's confusing a lot of people. I think it's throwing a lot of people for it.
Yeah,
but yeah, for sure.
It's that thing that we talked about with Aquaman and stuff, where like superhero is a genre, and part of that genre is a lack of subtlety, right?
Right.
Where like in like a drama, subtlety is sort of what you signed up for,
Right.
Because you're exploring emotions, right? It shouldn't be like all right there on the page.
Yeah.
There should be somewhere to go and explore.
No, I mean, think about like when we talk about like things being one shot for 10 minutes, you know, and people not having lines for 40 minutes in a movie, like, and that's the stuff that gets us. And it's, well, yeah, because what you're looking at then is you're looking at all these other subtle little clues to pick up on. Yeah, for sure.
So they've made some changes to the Upside story where Driss had not just done like a large stint in prison. He had a little bit of a past, but he wasn't like out there. He wasn't reporting to a probation officer. Kevin Hart's Dell is. He has a PO, and they are giving him a list of jobs to go to and get the signature saying that he applied, right?
Right.
So that's there right there is a big difference. In the Intouchables, this guy is just going to any job that he can get to that will sign off on him saying that he applied.
Is there an effort made to go to jobs specifically not designed for him so that he can get away with not getting the job? Like, is that part of the plan?
I feel like that's the reason why he goes to the Life Auxiliary thing.
Right, exactly.
It's like an open call sort of thing in the Intouchables. So, like, he sees about this employment opportunity. He goes knowing I'm probably not going to get it, figuring that it's going to be, like, just a quick stop on his thing to collect signatures, and then he moves on. Where Kevin, there's a whole montage in the beginning of him going to, like, a fast food restaurant and taking a typing test to become a temp and, like, just not applying himself so he won't get the job, but he'll get the signature saying that he showed up.
Right.
So then, here's the big thing. We love a comedy of errors in America, right? So he doesn't go to this. He's supposed to be applying for a janitor position in the same building where they're hiring for a Life Auxiliary. So when the guy checks in with the doorman saying, I'm here for the interview, he says, me too. And then he winds up in this interview to be a Life Auxiliary.
Okay. So he's even in the wrong place. It wasn't even that he was attempting to go to this.
It's not even that like he was, like, it's like, oh, this was an accident. I didn't meant to be here. And another big change between these two movies is Dell has a child where Driss is part of a large family that he's trying to provide for.
Okay.
So the reason why Driss is like, I just need to get a signature. I can just go, like, because he's sitting there for a while other people interview, and then he's like, this is taking more time than I thought. He skips in front of a guy and says, I just need you to sign this saying I applied for this job and that you don't want me.
Yeah.
Where Kevin Hart is like, he thinks he's there for a job interview, even though like everyone else is dressed differently and telling him it's not for janitor, it's for Life Auxiliary. He still thinks he's there for a job interview, and he has to do it, otherwise he could go back to prison.
Right.
So when he like jumps the line, he's like, I have to go pick up my kid. This is taking longer than I thought. And like both of those times is the fact that he goes up to the man, the quadriplegic in a wheelchair, and says, I just need you to sign this for me, boss. Not treating him like he has any sort of something wrong with him. Just treating him like a regular person. That gets him the job. But in the interview sequence with Kevin Hart, he points at Nicole Kidman and says, is this your boo? And like my biggest fear of this movie, I said it while we were like playing games. I don't have it recorded anywhere, and that breaks my heart because I'd love to be like, I fucking told you so, but I don't have the evidence. Was that Nicole Kidman was going to be the love interest for Bryan Cranston's character?
Yeah.
Because like it's basically it's a character that exists in the original French, but it's Nicole Kidman. Like she matters in America.
yeah. It's again, subtlety, right? Like it's not just a side character that we see for 3 scenes. When you show me Nicole Kidman on screen, my first thought, ghosting or whatever it is that she's bringing along with her, where it's just like, hey, I got to pay attention to this character now because they're going to be important. And it actually throws us when they're not, right? Like if anybody ever shows up and yeah.
And that's the thing is like, if she had not been important, I would have been like, well, good for her, right? Good for them, like trying to do it. But then when the first conversation is, so this is your girlfriend? You guys are together? Mm-hmm. It's like, no, but they're gonna be, right? Like, That's
don't
you
worry.
don't introduce a gun, right?
Don't worry, audience.
Because America loves Chekhov, even though they don't love subtlety.
Well, it's because they don't understand what Chekhov actually was trying to say. But yes, exactly.
Yeah. So then the movie progresses pretty similar. But with weird added slapstick moments, like Kevin Hart not understanding a rich shower and like activating the monsoon setting, or like,
do you know how insulting it is to hear that there's slapstick comedy in a movie about a quadriplegic? Like that's that is the most upsetting thing you've said so far.
Yeah, no, and it's all like tonally doesn't make any sense at all. It's like, so this is just for a laugh right here. And then the other thing is that, like, yes, Driss becomes his caretaker and he has to do a lot of that stuff, but that's not the story. So you don't see a lot of, like, the real dirt that would go into taking care of someone like that. There's a whole scene, and it feels like an eternity, but it's probably only 5 minutes, where he has to put a catheter in to Bryan Cranston's Philip character. And he's like, I mean, they told me how to do it. I got to like pinch the head, and then he gets an erection, and I'm like, what is happening with this scene? Like, why is this happening? Why do you think that this is what we need to see in this movie? But then the biggest offense is, and the biggest like departure between the two
Alexa
films.
says you're 10 minutes up.
I understand that, but you talk too a little bit. This is gonna be quick because I got to my thing. In the original movie, he has an epistolary relationship with a woman named Eleanor. Mm-hmm. And she sends a photo and says that she'd like to meet him in person. Now, if you don't know what an epistolary relationship is, it's only written word. Basically, your pen pals. It's a relationship of the mind, not of the body.
Right.
Right. Well, I imagine you know, but I want to make sure that our listeners understand.
Yeah, I mean, but I get a funny feeling I know where this is going, but keep going.
So in the original movie, Driss is like, this woman is attractive. I know that you lost your wife, but like you should go meet her. She wants to meet you. It's time to like take this to the next level. And it's supposed to represent that like Driss has not only had a positive effect enacted on him by working with Philippe, but it's gone the other way. Like that Philippe is coming out of his shell because he like closed off from the world because he's like, I can't interact with it anymore.
Right.
So he does it and he goes, but Driss is not available to take him. So he goes with his caretaker in the original, and then he chickens out at the end. He leaves. Philippe chooses not to meet this woman.
Right.
In this one, Dell goes with him, and Juliana Margulies shows up as the woman that he has been writing with. And she's like, it's very nice to meet you. I already knew about the chair. I mean, I Googled you. Your writing was just too good. They have a whole joke about Googling people that is just insulting. Like, did you know you could Google people? Did you know that? Comedy.
10 years ago, comedy.
Yeah. So then she's like, I don't think Del needs to stay. So he leaves. And he and Juliana Margulies and Bryan Cranston have this meal together. And first of all, she talks about The Missing Piece by Shel Silverstein. And she like sounds like an idiot when she's talking about the movie, the book.
Yeah.
Like it's a book that I read and I kind of have like something to, but she doesn't mention that like he can't sing once he finds the missing piece, which I think is the big thing. Not like
the point of the story.
the point of the story is that like he can't be himself because he's conformed to everybody else. Is weird. Like the incorporation of the missing piece I kind of get, but like it doesn't 100% work for the scene. But then they show like shots of him having like a little bit of sauce on his shirt and stuff. And this is supposed to do that like, no, she was wrong. She can't interact with this person who cannot use his limbs. Right? And maybe she shouldn't have told Kevin Hart to go away and that she could handle it.
Right.
So then he's like, this isn't going to work, is it? And she's like, no, I thought I could do it. And like that sends Bryan Cranston's character into this fucking spiral, which it's like, that sort of makes sense, right? Like it's one thing where like the spiral is that I haven't grown as much as I thought I have.
Sure.
It's another one like I had pinned some hopes and dreams on this person accepting me and they didn't.
Yeah.
So like
no, him not going the extra mile to find out, like the what if factor is very important, right? Like there's a difference between that. And now to answer that, which is what they did, is a whole other level of it's a whole different direction. So, yeah.
Right. And then the movie progresses. Kevin Hart gets fired in the American version as opposed to having to leave to take care of his family, which is what happens in the original thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's different, too, like being you're fired as opposed to, no, I understand that you have other responsibilities.
Yeah, right.
It just sucks that, like, you're fired because I'm mad at the world and you're the reason why I'm mad at the world, kinda. So
by proxy.
So get out of here. Go on, get. And then like it just happens. But then at the end, like Nicole Kidman has also been pushed away because he's pushing everybody away because he wants to just be closed off from society again. So at the end, it's him and Nicole Kidman talking, and like yeah, they're going to get together. Like it's heavily implied that that's how it's going to end. Where in the other one, like he gets sad and they go and they do have a nice thing together. Driss comes back knowing that there's not going to be a job, knowing that he is just going to see his friend again and trying to make his friend feel better. And he arranges for Eleanor to come and meet him so that this guy can have that what if moment. And then the final thing is that like Philippe and Eleanor had a relationship. Like it answers that for you, but it doesn't show you.
Right.
Where the final thing on this is Philip and Del remain friends to this day.
Yeah.
Which is, like, it tells you that, like, you know, things worked out with Philippe and Eleanor. And then it also says that they're still friends to this day. But, like, one little line of text is different as to, like, 4.
Yeah.
So weird. It's just, like, weird. Like, the lack of subtlety. And, like, there was a scene, it's in both movies, where Philippe is mad that his caretaker has thrown him a surprise birthday party.
Okay.
And he lashes out at Driss or Del because he's like, you knew about this and you know I didn't want to have this, so why did you allow it? And he like, and this is like the time where he turns and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry that you have people who want to come and celebrate with you, right? Like your life is so hard that you have people who care about you. And he gets mad at him and he's like, you can leave. And he's like, no, I'm not going to leave. I'm here for you. And he just looks so frustrated. And he throws something at the ground, the caretaker, but whether it be Driss or Del. And you see this like release for Philippe that like, that's what I want to do. I want to express my anger, but I can't because I'm in this chair. And that scene is fucking powerful, right? Because it shows that they've bonded on a level. In a lot of ways. The theater was uproarious with laughter during that sequence. And I'm like, this is not a scene that is supposed to be funny. but you've been trained by this movie to think that this is the stuff that's funny.
That this is the comedic meat right here, meat and potatoes.
I'm sitting there crying because of like, I couldn't believe that way. Like, I do not fault the actors in The Upside at all. I fault the way that the script was adapted for an American audience.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And the last thing, and I'm sorry, I know I'm taking up a little bit more time. Tate Donovan shows up as this like person who doesn't really approve of, you know, Dell as a caregiver, and he looks up and he's like, you know, he has a criminal record. Da, 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 da. So he's sort of like a rival to Philip. That doesn't
Weird.
make any sense. But
Weird.
there's this tiny little subplot where because Philippe is rich, and he's rich because he's an investor, one of the things he does is collect paintings. And when Driss Dell sees that like a painting that is not very complicated sells for $80,000, he decides that he's gonna start painting, like as a just for fun.
Yeah.
And both of them have this reveal of what the painting was, and then you have the Philip character sell that painting. But in the Intouchables, he just sells it at auction. Right? In The Upside, he convinces Tate Donovan that it might be a Banksy, and that but it doesn't fit with the aesthetic in here, so I think I'm going to get rid of it. And Tate Donovan buys it for $50,000. So it's also like this revenge story. Like, we screwed that guy over. And I'm like, that's not what that's about. That's about the fact that this guy applied himself and he got a little bit of a reward, but he needs to understand that, like, that's probably not going to happen again.
Right.
Like,
Jesus. like the whole, it seems like the entire story for this character that learns to paint and like learns to do something for himself and not just like get like a free handout. Like, and now you've turned it into a scam, which is just probably what got him in prison in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, because he says that his father was a con artist.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't work for me. And I was a little sick because I went in with an open mind, but then like just seeing them like, bam, see, this is what's happening in this movie. Do you get it? It hurt. But this morning, before we recorded, I did the research. It is not eligible for an Oscar this year.
Wow.
Because the rules are, and I'm going to just clarify them because I was under the impression that the rules were a little bit different than they actually are. It needs to show for 1 week in Los Angeles County. That's it. New York does not qualify you for the Academy Awards.
Right.
You have to show 3 showings a day between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. for a week consecutive in the Los Angeles County area in order to be eligible for nomination.
Yeah. Alexa, stop.
She's like, it's been 20 minutes now.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where like, so it's not eligible, even though it won in festivals, and I thought it had a small run in New York prior to last year. So like, that's the one thing I take solace in, is that people are loving it. It's gonna make money, but I think that they understood that like, but this is not going to be eligible for any sort of award. So let's not even pretend.
Yeah, well, that also answers the questions for me because, like, as much as people have been talking about it being a surprise hit with critics and stuff, nobody's been saying Oscar noms. So it's been the thing that's been kind of on the edge of my mind. Like, I wonder if it will, I wonder if it won't. Which, can we also talk about the fact that here we are on January 20th and we have not heard anything about the nomination lists
yet?
Well,
they're coming out the 22nd. They come out on Thursday. So I'm excited.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's see what happens.
But no, I'm 100% excited because I know The Upside will not be on there because it's not eligible. And that was my biggest fear, is that this film that is 100% a grab off of this existing piece of art that I care about not be rewarded with accolades.
Yeah.
And so that makes me feel good. There was another thing I wanted to say. The proof that it is actually popular, though, is I was in a pretty full theater for a 5 o'clock on Wednesday show.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it's doing. it's doing very well for itself. Like, and more power to it. Like, people going to movies is always a good thing. No matter what movie it ends up being, it always means more movies for us, right? So
Exactly.
like, let this stuff happen. And like we talked a little bit about remakes and bringing over European movies and how that sort of stuff always kinds of feels weird, but always works in its own weird way. And I'm sure that this thing will find its audience. I mean, it has,
It
obviously.
has found its audience. It's just
Yeah.
like it just kind of feels weird that like as the built-in audience for something like this, it alienated me in a lot of ways.
Mm,
And then I saw replicas and it made everything okay.
that's awesome.
But
You
we'll
know,
talk about replicas later.
Yeah, yeah. I will say the one thing with replicas that I think is really kind of a bummer is I have only seen one preview for it, and it was before Aquaman. That was the first time I'd even heard of that movie, and now everybody's talking about how it bombed, and I just want to be like, well, of course it bombed. I didn't know about it.
Exactly. And let me
Yeah,
tell you though, and they also that marketing that you saw before Aquaman
yeah.
is not the movie that replicas is. They need to realize that yes, we are like a name in horror. We are Blumhouse. We mean horror, but they've also got this great wing of their production house that knows how to find a great fucking science fiction movie.
Yeah,
Upgrade and now replicas. I don't think that's ruining me anything. Me telling you that it's science fiction. There's a robot in the trailer.
yeah. No, no.
But like, so don't market them like horror movies. Market them like science fiction.
Yeah,
And people, there's a market for science fiction. I have the Sci-Fi channel. I don't have the horror channel.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
that a
yeah.
horror channel exists, but like, it's not part of a basic cable package. Sci-Fi is.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
So that's right. Also, I saw Glass, but I'm not going to say anything. But go see Glass. Even if you haven't seen Unbreakable and Split, Glass. I'm going to leave this for Say Report Jr. Listen to Say Report Jr. Dale hadn't seen either of those and was like, I don't think I'm going to. I want to experience the movie removed from them so I can judge it on its own. And if it's good, maybe I'll go seek out those movies I didn't see. And she's going to. So
All right.
there's that. So listen to Say Report Jr. this week while they talk about Glass, probably.
All right, Dev. Enough about movies.
Enough about movies. Let's turn to a silvery screen. What have you been watching? So that I have some basis to go off of.
Well, so the three big things that I checked out this week is the return of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but now on a new network
Nine-Nine.
on NBC, and I have to say that I am rather impressed with the fact that it just felt like it was the old show. I was really worried that coming over to a new network that things weren't going to work out in certain ways, and that we'd be looking at a very different show, and we're not. Like it fit perfectly. Like I don't know. I
My
very much
only
enjoyed
complaint is Rose's lipstick.
it.
The shade is too dark for her coloring, and it has been distracting both episodes. But
Yeah.
if my complaint is something that like really only exists in my brain because I had to take makeup class with David Howard for my
Exactly.
degree,
Yeah.
you're doing something right.
Yeah, so the return of Brooklyn Nine-Nine was a big one for us, and we were very much on the fence of like I love that show and I would love to see more of those characters, but like we just didn't know what was going to happen with it. Like I said, going over to a new network and stuff. So that was really cool.
And the other
The
issue
other thing,
was that sorry.
no, go ahead. I was going
Just
to
to
move on.
finish the Brooklyn
So,
Nine-Nine thing before we move forward is it felt like a natural endpoint at the end of the 5th season.
it could have
So,
ended there. Yeah, for sure.
it could have ended there and I would have felt okay. So it wasn't one of those situations where they left me like needing more, as
Right.
like Quantum Leap did,
Right,
or My Name is Earl, or any of these shows. Where
right.
it's like it left me with a satisfying ending. So what made me nervous is, are we going to mess up what could have been a natural endpoint by bringing the show back?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. And like I said, I'm glad to say that at least for me and for the fam here, like we were very much in love with it still. So that's pretty cool. But the other two shows were actually new ones. Checked out The Rock's new competition show, Titans. That was pretty fucking baller. Have you seen it?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been out at like bars and stuff, and it's been on in the background.
We
And
are
I'm
very
like,
close. Yeah, we're very close to a glut of those types of like strongman competition shows. Between the Beast, Terry what's his name from Brooklyn.
Cruz, Terry
Terry
Crews.
Crews, Terry Crews's little project there from Netflix. It's not he's not producing it or anything, but he's like the big face for Netflix's version of it, and that's pretty awesome. The Beast also that has its own thing though, being a Netflix show, and the fact that they have international versions, so you get to watch it from like all these different angles. Like while we were watching it, rooting for the American team, this is The Beast with Terry Crews, right? We're
Yeah.
watching it for the American team, and that was pretty cool. But then we realized that there was also like a Spanish version up, and we popped it on, and it was the exact same competition, except that the announcers are different, and they're all focused on the Spanish team and a couple of episodes on the Mexican team and stuff like that. And so like we were watching the same stuff, and we were suddenly just like, oh, were we rooting for the wrong guys this whole time? So that was pretty cool, right? So that's the thing is like, what's the hook? These shows are getting to a point where they need to have a very specific hook, and if they don't, they're just going to kind of be bland, right? And so the big one for this one, I think, is The Rock. Like I think that's their hook. Is you've got these people that clearly push themselves. It's it's American Ninja Warrior. It's the Beast. It's all these other things, but the big thing for this is that every episode they kind of just focus on two people, and The Rock kind of like mentoring them, and so like it's kind of hard to deny. It's riding right now on a lot on Dwayne Johnson's charm, and we'll see how long that lasts. But I think it's at least going to get a good season out of it. But that is what it is. It's a crazy American Gladiator style competition show. Watch it. It's fun. Like you said, it's in the background at a bar is probably the perfect way to experience it. The other one, though, that I decided to check out this week is I decided to check out Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh my God, Roswell, New Mexico is back.
Yeah.
I thought that I didn't think that was coming until February.
No,
started?
it just started. Yeah, it just started last week.
Okay.
Might be 2 episodes in now by the time we're recording this. But when I watched it earlier in the week, there was only 1 episode up. And that's the problem, Dev, is nobody watched it because I don't think anybody knew it was coming back.
Well,
But
I knew it was coming back because before every
right,
movie
but I don't
that
think
I've seen a trailer, and I'm like, ooh, exciting. But
yeah,
I thought
but I don't think anybody
February.
knew when it was coming.
Yeah.
Right, I don't think anybody knew when it was coming because they are suffering that. That is what's in the news right now, and that's a shame. I will say because as somebody that was only tangentially into Roswell when it was on, I think that they've done a really good job of bringing that show into the now and making it actually interesting to a guy like me because like. I don't know. We've never really talked too much about like the kind of genres that we're really kind of into and the kind of stuff that really turns us off as much as people have probably figured it out by now. But like, I'm not huge into dramas that are driven by romantic relationships. Like, give me a drama that's driven by like, action or a drama that's driven by something, outside of the forces of human, right? Like sci-fi is a good example or horror is a good example. So like shows like the Arrowverse or anything supernatural had me for a long time. I'm just naming CW stuff right now, but like other things like that. But I'm not a guy that follows like Jane the Virgin. As much as I really love that show and I think it does a really good thing, I don't care enough about it to like watch it every week. And so Roswell is one of those ones that like Roswell, the original show, is one of those ones that towed the line between being that sci-fi show and being that romantic drama that like I couldn't quite put my finger on whether or not I wanted to be a fan of it, right? And it was also at that right time in my life where like I was 13 and so like it was on TV and like if it was on TV I was probably going to watch it because like I was just watching TV, but it didn't necessarily mean I was into it. So I can't tell you really in all honesty whether or not I could call myself a fan of the old show, right? So this version of this show that they've now created, Roswell, New Mexico, I didn't know whether or not it was going to be for me. I was still kind of in that weird place of just like, am I the kind of guy that's going to sit down and watch this romantic drama every week? There is a sci-fi element, right? And I gotta say, man, like, it's pretty good. Like they set up a lot of really good sci-fi stuff in it. The whole thing starts with him using his regeneration powers to like bring her back to life. So that's like the whole like start of the madness. But they already have introduced the counterintelligence government group that's looking for them. They've already introduced the idea that like they are not in a good place in this town, but also this town is their home. And they've established they do a lot of legwork in the first episode. It's a little weirdly paced, but I actually think part of that might be because the only way to watch it right now is on the CW app, unless you want to pay for it. But to watch it for free on the CW app, and the CW app is horrendous with its commercial placement.
Yeah.
Not only is there too many of them, but on top of that, it's the same commercials, and there are moments of that show where it literally comes back for 2 minutes. and then it goes right back to the same commercial you just watched 2 minutes ago. Like, I don't know how they decide placement, but you can watch a 10-minute stretch of it, no problem. And then the next time it comes back, it's only back for 2 minutes, and then it's back to the commercials again. And it's just like, it was throwing me so bad. So I might have even enjoyed it more because here I am talking about the fact that I liked it, and this is with all of these issues I was having with the stupid app.
You know what, though? I don't think that's necessarily just the app's problem.
Yeah.
I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine semi-live, right? Like, I taped it. I didn't watch it on Hulu, even though I have Hulu specifically for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I was so amped up that I wanted to watch it on the night.
Oh, yeah, and that's when they're going to get those numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and, I mean, have you seen both of the episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine so far this season?
No, I've only seen the one with them at the resort.
You
I haven't seen the second one yet.
Son of a bitch! Because I can't ruin the second one, but the second one is super good. And I'm glad I watched it live, because if any of it had been spoiled for me, I'd have been angry. So I watched that. Their TV networks are doing weird things with their commercials now.
Yeah.
Where, like, so Brooklyn Nine-Nine will have, like, a really strong opening, and then they'll be like, we'll be back in exactly 1 minute. So they show one commercial, and then they're back to the show. So, like, that's what you get used to. So then it's shorter than what you got for show before, what you have. And then it feels like, oh, we're right back to commercial. But this commercial is, like, 4 minutes. Like, its usual commercial break length. So it gives you this weird feeling of, like, what's happening right now. The Orville's been doing that, too, because it's been being shown with limited commercial interruptions. So, like, the commercials are literally, like, 1 minute commercials until the commercial break right before the ending, where everybody gets their time.
And then suddenly, it's like every commercial. Like, oh.
So it's just, that's been very odd. And I think that CBS, and whether you like their shows or their politics, CBS is the #1 network in the nation right now.
Right.
And they are the ones who I think modified the advertising plan to what we're seeing now. Because Madam Secretary will sometimes go 12 minutes before the title card. And that's a 44-minute show. And you'll have 12 minutes of show before it tells you this is Madam Secretary. And then they have their first commercial. So, like, and then, like, the commercial breaks feel like a punch in the face because I had 12 uninterrupted minutes of show.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I think it was literally 2 minutes between the start and then going back to commercials in one that we watched. And I'm like, did anything happen in those 2 minutes? Or no? Is it just like, you're still watching Madam Secretary? More commercials.
Yeah, and then, like, you know, part of it is because I have openly admitted many times that, like, I prefer to wait and for shows to be up on Netflix in full chunks, or even Hulu now, like with the no commercial plans. Like, this is the way that we watch TV now in my house, right? Is we do this streaming stuff where the commercials have never really been too much of a factor. So these times when I do have to go back and watch these shows that have commercials, it throws me for a wide loop, and I can't tell if it's just me and my watching habits or if it is that things are getting weirder on TV. But, like, I cannot stand the fact that, like, on the CW app it seems like they have 3 commercials and it's the same 3 commercials. So every time it goes to it, I'm seeing the same 3 commercials, and, like, that starts to grind real bad. And, like, that sort of that, you know, and it's a shame because, like I was saying, like, I was very much enjoying the show that I've been kind of on the fence on, but I did have an interest in. So here I am checking it out. I'm giving you my viewership, and I'm not the kind of person that I don't think you were aiming for, which is good for a show. Like, it's good to kind of reach outside of its audience and pull more people in. And man, that watching experience was not great. Like, I don't know.
This is, like, definitely for after Say Report talk, but, like, if they only have 3 commercials, we might want to look into seeing how much an ad buy is.
Right.
During Roswell.
Yeah, but I do recommend it. I think Roswell. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be one of those ones that people are going to be overly critical of. I think because it had a show before that was such a big success, and I think that people still have not I don't think people have gotten into the CW groove yet. Like I think that they every time a new show comes on CW, people are like surprised at the way that they handle it. But anybody that's been watching CW for the last 10 years, as somebody that's been way into Arrow since season 1, like this is not weird. Like what they're doing with this show is exactly what they always do. They start off in this place of being high on the drama, low on the sci-fi, and then I guarantee you by like season 3, if we get there, suddenly you're going to realize, oh, this is a very different show than season 1. But it's like, yeah, because when your target audience is that like 18 to 35-year-old women, you start in a specific place and then you bring them with you into this other place. And that's their whole like shtick. And I think that this is going to be one of those shows that might not survive that first season like build of like world and character, because I don't know, man. I mean, I want to be wrong. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I want to be wrong, but it's just the vibe I'm getting from the way that people are watching it right now is people aren't watching it correctly, I guess is the best way of putting it. I mean, that's a stupid way of thinking of it, but essentially they're not ready for what that show is probably going to become, I think. I don't know. I'll be curious to see what happens.
What a wonderful segue into another sci-fi show that I had no interest in, but then I sat down and watched. And I think the only reason why I continue to watch is because from moment one, they have struck a wonderful balance between the regular, like, everyday stuff and the science fiction. And the show that I'm talking of is, of course, The Orville.
Yeah, okay.
So I know that you've just started watching The Orville.
Mm-hmm.
We are 4 episodes into season 2. I won't ruin anything for Sejohn, but
No,
I have absolutely loved these first 4 episodes, like, to death. Like, they have been so good, these episodes. Especially the last one, like, haunts my soul. And I'm saying this about something that Seth MacFarlane created.
Yeah.
And this is like, I mean, I'm pretty much out on Family Guy. I am a card-carrying dadder. I just rewatched all of American Dad again.
Yeah,
and I'm going to start from the beginning because I just love that show.
I love that show.
That show's so good. So,
well,
like,
and the important thing is, you make the joke about Family Guy, but Seth MacFarlane's been out on Family Guy since season 4. Like Seth MacFarlane hasn't injected to that show either.
There's a reason why I watched the first 3 seasons and occasionally season 4 of Family Guy, and I don't really go much deeper than that.
Right.
So, like, yeah, because American Dad has a lot of the sci-fi elements, so I don't know, now that I watched American Dad simultaneously with The Orville, I'm like, I don't know why I was ever questioned The Orville, because it's the stuff I love about American Dad, but in live action.
Yeah.
But so I know that you've just started it. How many episodes in are you?
I couldn't give you a number count, but like we've seen the zoo episode. We've seen the episode is that the same episode as when his second in command there takes the break to sit on the egg? Like we've seen that.
Yeah, that's all one episode.
Yeah. That might be the last one that we've
So you've seen 2
watched.
episodes of the show?
No, I've seen more than 2.
No, you haven't. If the zoo was the last one you saw.
No, I don't think episode. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's not I don't think that's the last episode we watched, but that's like the episode that sticks out in my mind because it has legitimately been like 9 months since we watched it.
Oh, okay.
We started watching The Orville before we left Toledo, and then in the move and like everything that's happened since, we've kind of lost track of like television.
All right, then whatever. We're not talking about The Orville, and that pisses me off because I was excited to talk about The Orville. So I guess I'll do it avoiding spoilers. And that is, I was nervous about season 2 of The Orville. I was nervous about season 2 for a lot of reasons. One of them being what Sejohn just cited is watching in bulk. And it's also the reason I was nervous about Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I didn't watch The Orville when it was live, and I didn't watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine when it was live because they were just on at times that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Like other stuff was airing, and you could only tape 2 things on a DVR, and I didn't have Hulu or anything similar, so I didn't get to watch them. But then we signed up for a Hulu trial to see if we mattered, and we said while we have Hulu, we need to watch The Orville. That was it. Dale and I said, this is what we're doing. We're watching The Orville. And we did, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
and then we continued the Hulu so that we could watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Fell in love with it. So these two shows that I care about come back, and I'm nervous if I'm going to be able to like wait like between episodes, or if that's going to kill me, or if like I'm going to become more critical of the show because I'm not getting these huge downloads of it all at once. And so far, so good, right? But the reason why I was so nervous about that was Rick and Morty.
yeah.
Because Rick and Morty, I did not watch. I had seen like one episode of season 1 and one episode of season 2. That's actually 100% true. There's no I had or ifs or buts about it. I saw the Lawnmower Dog episode of Rick and Morty and thought it was excellent. Like, I
Right.
think that's still one of their best episodes of that show. And I saw the one with Rick's battery. The Ricks Must Be Crazy, where they go into the battery and find out that he created the universe to power his car.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, and that's another one that like really worked for me because of the like exploration of religion and creationism and what it means.
Well, right, yeah.
So like those two episodes really like affected me. And then I was like, I tried to watch other ones and they just didn't work until I saw Rick Potion #9 and saw that like they died and they had to move universes. And I'm like, oh shit. This show is more my speed than I thought. And I went on a huge download of the first 2 seasons of Rick and Morty, but then I still had to wait for season 3. And between episodes of season 3, very critical of that show. Because the stuff that had brought it to me seemed to have been shuffled to the back. And like Rick being a nihilist, it almost got pushed more to the front, but also pushed into the background.
Mm.
In a lot of ways that didn't make sense based on
Yeah.
the way the character existed in the first 2 seasons. So I was nervous that I was going to have another Rick and Morty moment with Brooklyn Nine-Nine and The Orville. And I'm
Yeah.
happy to report that I haven't. And that's good news. But because there's also a show that I can talk about that just recently came back, its premiere was on my birthday, and I know Sejohn hasn't watched and probably will never watch, I'd like to talk about Cuckoo.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, man.
So Cuckoo is a show that is a Netflix original, but it's a Netflix original in the way that, like, it's original in America to Netflix.
Yeah,
We've coupled up with an outside country to help fund this show.
yeah.
And that is my bread and butter on Netflix. Huge fan of Mako Mermaids and H2O Adventure as a sequel of H2O. And it's called a Netflix original in America, but it's an Australian production that Netflix helped like fund.
Right.
So that show was out long before it came to Netflix. And I still loved it. I loved that show. So Cuckoo seemed right up my alley. The first season of Cuckoo, the titular character, is played by Andy Samberg. And it takes a lot to get to like him and what the show is in those first 6 episodes.
Right.
So then, like, you have... And it makes sense, though, because you kind of... That's sort of what the arc is Cuckoo's father-in-law, like, coming to accept him as a member of the family.
Yeah, it's a pretty stock standard comedy trope. It's the new fiance not quite fitting in with the family and the family having to get used to him. Yeah.
So then at the end of Cuckoo, which came out in 2011, something happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that something is Brooklyn Nine-Nine not only got made, but picked up.
Right.
So Andy Samberg was not available to go over to England again to make the second season of Cuckoo. So they had a choice. Do we make more Cuckoo? Or do we figure out a reason for him not to be here? And obviously, since I'm still talking about the show, they decided to go on without him. So they killed him. They killed his character and introduced his child from a, like, 14-year-old affair with a Buddhist monk daughter, played by Taylor Lautner.
Right.
And that first episode with Taylor Lautner, huge fucking hurdle for me, Devon Decker, to clear.
Right.
Because I'm like, I'm done with this show. Like, what have you done? What have you done, show? But then Dale's like, well, just watch one more and see if it still works for you. It did. They did a really good job of like, yes, the first episode where you switch him over is going to be awkward. But then the next episode, not that awkward. And it rolled with Taylor Lautner for 3 more seasons. But then the final episode of the 4th season of Cuckoo had this weird montage that felt out of place, kinda, but only because I knew that there was going to be a 5th season of Cuckoo. Of like a summation, like what we love, the music video of the events that just occurred.
Right.
So they had like a music video of everything that Taylor Lautner's Dale character went through on the show. So then season 5 comes out, and now it's only airing in Britain right now. It's on BBC 3. And you know, you can get a VPN or something to make them think you're British so you can watch it. So I did that, and I've been watching it. But here's the thing about season 5 of Cuckoo. Taylor Lautner is now gone. And they didn't kill him. I have to give them credit for not killing him.
For not then also killing him.
They didn't also kill him. The thing is that like there's now a new toddler in the family. Like they ended up having a child, and he's about 4 now. And at the first scene, he goes, "Where's Dale?" And they all just look at him and go, "Dale is gone." And that has been the only reference to the fact that Taylor Lautner is gone. No explanation as to why.
Oh my god.
Just so he's gone. But you need a crazy American to uproot this proper British family's lifestyle.
Right.
Do you know who they got to be the crazy American, Sejohn?
Oh god, I don't know. I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. The name is still Andy.
Anthony Anderson? No, who is it?
Andy. It's still Andy. So, like,
Is it...
Andy Richter, Andy Dick, Andy Garcia. These are suitable guesses from you.
Is it Andy Daly?
No, it's not Andy Daly.
Then I'm not interested.
It's Andy McDowell.
Oh.
Because it was revealed that Ken, the person that was his father, is not his real father. So he has a half-sister who is played by Andy McDowell.
Oh, okay.
And she comes in to be the crazy American to uproot their lifestyle. And it's been fantastic. Like, it really,
God.
like, the first episode, a little bit awkward because, you know, like, we've gotten rid of a major part of the show. And we're replacing, again, right? It's like, they're doing, like, the Doctor Who thing, but, like, not as gracefully as Doctor Who does it at all. They're like, people are okay with watching a show if we replace a character, right? English television has proven that. So let's just do that.
Oh,
but to be fair, I'm watching the 5th season of this show, and the first episode, she comes in, she's rich. Like, that's the big thing, is she's this rich American, and she wants to live forever. So she offers to buy Ken's body when he dies. But now, I'll give you the $2 million now. And then when you die, I get your body.
Oh,
but then it's found out that her husband was in a Ponzi scheme, so all of the funds are closed, and if she leaves England, she will be arrested because they believe that she is his accomplice.
Oh, my God.
So she has to stay in England, and it's been pretty good so far. And I just can't believe that, like, the show has not only done the we kill the character and replace them with kind of a similar character thing once, but have accomplished it twice.
Yeah, they did the Family Matters thing second. Went upstairs and never came back down.
Yeah, exactly. No, we're not doing that. We're gonna give a reason, kinda. It's good. Watch Cuckoo. I have not really ruined anything by what I've told you. And I mean, the Andy McDowell episodes are eventually going to come to Netflix, probably around November of this year.
Yeah.
And if the second episode, I had to pause it because I was laughing too hard to continue watching. Like, they're doing it. Like, don't be surprised by, like, This show thinks I'm dumb and it can replace characters. No, 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 no. They think you're intelligent enough to be able to watch this show still, but with a new actor there.
All right, man, Jesus.
Yeah, but
Um,
I could not believe they did it again.
that's amazing.
And yeah, so that's my new TV experiences. Oh, Fam is on CBS. I watched the first episode, really liked it. Did not
Yeah.
care for the second episode.
No, I like Tone Bell, so I hope that show goes well.
I love the entire cast of that show, and it's like, oh, please tell me you're gonna like this is just like second episode jitters, and you guys get it back.
Yeah.
But I'm not really feeling that, to be completely honest with you, because this week they're following up The Big Bang Theory with an episode of Fam.
They're doing
And
a
then-
2-episode run, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing
Yeah.
an 8:30 and then one in its usual time slot.
Mm.
So like that looks like we're trying to burn off, but we're also trying to force a lead in off of our highest rated comedy.
Yeah, I think it's more like the first episode hit really well. The second episode was a little lukewarm, and so they're trying to see if they can get it back. It's a grab for sure.
It's totally a grab, and
move.
that makes me a little nervous.
Yeah,
But like,
no, the only other one that no, go ahead.
oh, well, I was gonna say Gary Cole. I rewatched the first 3 seasons of Family Guy. Gary Cole was almost the like Hank Azaria of the first 3 seasons of Family Guy. He
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
so many characters. It was incredible. I'm like, I
Yeah.
didn't realize Gary Cole's in so many episodes of Family Guy. It's
Yeah,
nuts.
I mean, besides like Seth MacFarlane and Mark Hentman, I think he pretty much like carries that cast,
yeah.
right? Yeah. The only other one that I wanted to mention before we go is because is weird enough to deserve a shout out, and it might actually stick around. Is The Masked Singer? It's been making some pretty good waves. For anybody who doesn't know, it's a Korean show that was brought over. I think the only good judge they have right now is Ken Jeong, although I guess they had Joel McHale probably because of his relationship with Ken Jeong. But they had Joel McHale for a few episodes, but he's not going to be a standard judge for them. But like out of the judges, like he's the only one that I really care about. So like I get the appeal of the mass singing part. I get the appeal of like all of that, the competition side of it. The thing that doesn't get me right now is I don't think they have the celebs to carry that show on the judge side, which is like all they've got right now while people are in masks. But like, do you know much about the show at all, Dev?
No, I know that my
This is the
family is
one-
watching it. I know that it's like celebrities, but like Celebrity Big Brother after the 7th season of Dancing with the Stars level celebrities.
Keep in mind that this is the show that on the Korean version last year made huge waves because the reveal was one of the unicorns was Ryan Reynolds.
Right, no, and I understand that. Like,
Like-
I know
like-
why it's here in America now.
No, I'm saying we've only revealed the first 3 people, and they've been like fucking Tommy Chong and like an NFL player, and Terry Bradshaw was 2 NFL players really, because I can't remember the first guy was an NFL player that I
Yeah,
can't
I
remember
can't
the name
remember
of.
his name.
But that's like who we've gotten so far. But the thing is that they did the list of all of the awards that these people supposedly have, and amongst them are things like 9 Grammys and like Tony Awards and stuff. So like we don't know who the other 9 people are. I think it started off with 12 and they've eliminated 3. So I think we don't know who the other 9 masked singers are yet. So like I am actually legitimately interested to see where this show goes. They've gotten me with their mystery hook. And like I said, I'd be watching it every week if it wasn't for the fact that like I don't care about the judges. Like I go on and look for highlights of Ken Jeong and like who the winner is. Like that's what I go looking for. But I cannot stand the personalities they've gotten of everybody else.
All right, so you kind of hooked me, but with the people that had been revealed so far, it felt like Celebrity Big Brother level celebrity.
Oh yeah.
Or
yeah.
post 7th season of Dancing with
and
the Stars.
And it very well could be. It could be these people that are like, 60 years old and this is all they've got going for them and we're just exploiting them. Like that is definitely a danger. But like knowing the history of what this show has been before and the fact that they have gotten weird like Korean like reveals of American celebrities and stuff like that, there's there's a chance that this show could become even bigger than it already is. So I'm very curious to see. Also, Nick Cannon is hosting. I should also point out he's not one of the judges, so I wasn't talking about him. But Nick Cannon is hosting, and Nick Cannon's never a bad
That
personality
brings
to
me
have.
back because Nick Cannon not being on America's Got Talent. I don't like America's Got Talent to begin with.
Right.
Like, that is the worst season of television in my house, is when
Mhm.
my parents are watching the, like, 5 hours of America's Got Talent every week.
Yeah.
And I'm
God,
like, I
yes.
don't want to be here for this at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Like, this does not interest me. And I don't know why. I think it's because I've now seen, like, Britain's Got Talent and other ones, and they
Yeah.
are run, again, bookends, a lot more subtle than the American one.
Sure, for sure.
Where, like, a lot of the times it's like the person just performs. You don't get the packet to feel bad for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think though the counterexample of that is Susan Boyle, right? Like she was one of those, and I think what happened was you had that moment with Susan Boyle, and America latched onto that, so that's what the American versions of those shows became. I don't think the British version became that show after that. I think that that was like a one-off thing that happened, but I think that because that hit so big internationally, that's the
That's why
style of show that
Exactly.
America's. Yeah, yeah.
But, like, I watch other ones, and it's like they just bring the person out. They don't give you, like, a huge, like, build up to who they are. Like, a lot of the time they come out and they just perform. And it's like, oh, cool. Like, I don't have any ideas right now. There's no ghosting, to use
Yeah, there's
that
no-
term.
Yeah, there's
And
no
it's-
baggage.
Yeah, it's cool. So I hate that thing. But here's what I want to say about The Masked Singer. Like 4 years ago now, probably further back, to be completely honest with you, because it was a Saturday night on NBC show
Yeah.
where the 5 people, they were like impressionists. So they would try to look as much like the person they were performing as and match their mannerisms.
Nice.
It's where I fell in love with Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie, because, like, an NBA player did that song, and he was so Lionel, it blew me away. But one of the other competitors on that was John Lovitz. I love John Lovitz. As a
John
performer
Lovitz.
specifically.
Yeah.
So if John Lovitz ends up being one of these Masked Singers, I
Oh
will
my
be
God.
happy.
Here's the thing. I think you'd be able to tell it was John Lovitz
I don't know, Sejohn. I
from his
saw
voice alone.
I saw John Lovitz looking like other people. I don't remember anything else about this show. That, like, it was the last time that a singing competition had me as enraptured as, like, the rest of the country is by them. Is these people doing, like, impersonating famous people. So, but you introducing that hook of The Masked Singer, I might check out an episode or two now.
I'm curious to see, and like I said, I'm only watching it from a distance myself. I'm not wholly invested in it, but I do think that it's weird enough that we're gonna have to probably acknowledge it at some point. So why not start now?
Yeah, right? We were talking about it before it was cool. Which brings us to, do you have anything else to add?
No.
I'm going to do a little bit of self-promotion here. I, Devon Decker, am starting a new podcast that will be available beginning Wednesday of this week, so the 23rd of January, called Devon Decker Presents. And Devon Decker Presents is just going to be like short showcase, like micro series of things that interest me at the time. And what we're starting with, the first thing that I, Devon Decker, will be presenting is 14 days of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
Nice.
I have gotten Dale from Sarahport Jr. on board with me. Beginning on the 23rd through to the 5th of February, we're going to watch one episode of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo and then, like, summarize and talk about what happened in the episode for you to listen to. And then on February 5th, The Curse of the 13th Ghost, the new movie that's going to wrap up finally the Chest of Demons storyline from the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, will come out on DVD, and we will watch it, and then we will sum that up for you.
Fred and Velma going to be in it?
Fred and Velma are going to be in it, and
Yeah.
the explanation of why they weren't there before.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited. I am a big fan of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, mostly because of the dynamic of Shaggy and Daphne. Like, that is something that has always worked for me, because it just seems so weird.
Yeah,
Like,
that they were the two that got the spin-off and not something else.
It's
Yeah.
like, why are we hanging out? And so we'll see what happens. But I'm excited to revisit the show as an adult and not as a child. I'm excited to watch it for the first time with Dale, because she knows nothing of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. And I'm happy to get to share this experience, finishing this up with everybody. So just look for it. It'll be on like the podcast stuff. Devon Decker presents 14 Days of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
Very nice.
So go out there and find it. Sejohn?
No, I got nothing. But no, you can always find me on Twitter. I'm at Siege versus the World.
And I'm there too. And if you want to tell me that I'm bad at playing Destiny, so that maybe it'll get into my head, because Sejohn thinks I'm bad at playing Destiny, but I can't take anything he tells me seriously or with a critical eye. You can find me at Devon D. Decker on Twitter. You throw it to Will. You never throw it to Will.
All right, but make sure you also hit us up at the Say Report on Twitter, and we've got our Facebooks and all that sort of stuff too. So don't hesitate to try and get in touch with us in any way that you can. Now, my prediction for winner of the Masked Singer, Will.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejohn Selwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.